Have you ever felt completely stuck? Maybe you faced a mountain you could not climb, or a river you could not cross. In these moments, we often look for a sign. We hope for something beyond our own strength. This is where the idea of a miracle begins. A miracle is more than just a lucky break. It is more than a happy coincidence. A miracle is an event that goes beyond the normal laws of nature. It is a moment when a higher power steps into our world. It is God's direct touch upon our ordinary lives, showing us that we are not alone in our struggles. These are not just ancient tales, they are whispers of divine intervention that remind us of a power greater than our own understanding. In the quiet pages of the Bible, we find story after story of these amazing events. They are not there just to impress us. They are there to teach us something profound. They show us the character of God. They reveal His immense power and His deep, unending love for His people. A miracle is God's way of saying, I am here, I see you, I care. When God parts the sea or heals a blind man, He is not just changing the circumstances, He is changing hearts. He is building faith where there was doubt. He is planting hope where there was only despair. These acts are powerful reminders that the God who created the universe is also personally involved in the details of our lives. Think about it for a moment. What does it mean when the impossible becomes possible? Imagine the scene. An entire nation of people, the Israelites, stand at the edge of a vast sea. Behind them, the thunder of chariots grows louder. The most powerful army in the world, led by an enraged Pharaoh, is closing in. There is nowhere to run. Fear must have gripped every heart. Despair was a thick cloud hanging over them. Then, God speaks to Moses. He gives a simple command. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. Think of the faith required in that moment. Moses, a man like any other, was told to command the sea. He obeyed. He stretched out his hand and a mighty east wind began to blow. All through the night the wind howled. It pushed the waters back, piling them up like liquid walls on either side. Where there was once a barrier, there was now a pathway. A dry road appeared in the heart of the sea, a miracle of deliverance carved out by the very breath of God. Our journey with Jesus, the ultimate miracle worker, begins not in the hallowed halls of a temple, nor within the structured confines of a synagogue, but rather in a place of pure, unadulterated joy, a party. Specifically, a wedding celebration unfolding in the quaint, unassuming town of Cana in Galilee. This wasn't just any gathering, it was a vibrant tapestry of community, a moment of shared happiness and the promise of new beginnings. The air was filled with laughter, music, and the aroma of festive foods. A scene brimming with life and the simple pleasures of human connection. It's a deliberate choice, a powerful statement that the divine can be found not only in solemnity, but also in the midst of everyday life, in the heart of human celebration. This sets the stage for understanding Jesus' ministry as one deeply intertwined with the joys and sorrows of ordinary people. Jesus was there not as a distant observer but as a fully engaged guest, immersed in the warmth and camaraderie of the occasion. He wasn't alone. He was accompanied by his mother Mary, a woman of profound faith and quiet strength, and his newly chosen disciples, a group of ordinary men who were just beginning to grasp the extraordinary nature of the man they had decided to follow. They were all integral parts of the celebration, sharing in the food, the music, and the conversations, demonstrating Jesus' commitment to being present in the lives of those around him. This act of simply being present, of sharing in the joys of others, is a powerful testament to Jesus' humanity and his desire to connect with people on a personal level. It underscores the idea that faith is not just about rituals and doctrines, but about genuine human connection and shared experiences. However, in the midst of the joyous festivities, a shadow of concern begins to creep in, threatening to disrupt the celebratory atmosphere. A crisis, subtle yet significant, unfolds, casting a pall over the wedding feast. The host, responsible for ensuring the smooth running of the event and the satisfaction of his guests, faces a deeply embarrassing predicament. He has run out of wine. In that culture, where hospitality was paramount and celebrations often lasted for days, this was more than just an inconvenience. It was a social catastrophe, a profound failure that could bring shame and dishonor upon the host and his family. The pressure mounts as the realization dawns that the wine has run dry, and the weight of responsibility bears down on the host, threatening to unravel the joy of the occasion. This seemingly small detail highlights the importance of social customs, and the potential for even minor mishaps to have significant consequences in that time and place. Mary, ever perceptive and attuned to the needs of others, senses the growing panic and distress of the host. Her maternal instincts kick in, and she recognizes the potential for embarrassment and social shame that looms over the celebration. With unwavering faith and quiet confidence, she turns to her son Jesus, the source of her hope and the embodiment of her trust. She doesn't demand a solution, nor does she express any doubt in his ability to intervene. Instead, she simply states the problem with understated elegance: they have no more wine. This simple statement is a powerful expression of faith, a quiet acknowledgement of Jesus' power, and a subtle request for his intervention. It's a moment of profound trust, a mother entrusting her son with a delicate situation, knowing that he is capable of extraordinary things. Nearby, strategically placed for ritual purity, stood 6 large stone water jars, imposing in their size and significance. These were not ordinary containers. They were specifically designed and used for ceremonial washing, a common practice in Jewish tradition to ensure ritual cleanliness before meals and other important events. Each jar was massive, capable of holding 20 to 30 gallons of water, a testament to the importance placed on purification rituals in that culture. These jars were a constant reminder of the need for spiritual cleansing and the pursuit of holiness. Their presence at the wedding highlights the intersection of religious tradition and everyday life, underscoring the importance of both physical and spiritual purity in the context of a celebration. The sheer size of the jars also emphasizes the magnitude of the miracle that is about to unfold, as Jesus transforms an enormous quantity of water into wine. Jesus, without hesitation or explanation, issues a seemingly strange and unconventional command to the servants: fill the jars with water. The servants, accustomed to obeying instructions without question, proceed to carry out his request with diligence and a hint of curiosity. They diligently hauled water from a nearby well or source, pouring it into each massive jar until it reached the very brim, leaving no space for anything else. The task was arduous and time-consuming, requiring significant effort and cooperation, yet they persevered, trusting in the authority of Jesus and fulfilling his instructions to the letter. This act of obedience, of faithfully carrying out a seemingly illogical command, is a crucial element of the miracle. It demonstrates the importance of trust and submission to divine authority, even when the purpose is not immediately clear. With the jars now filled to capacity, Jesus issues a second, even more perplexing command. Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet. This instruction must have seemed utterly baffling to the servants. They had just filled the jars with water, and now they were being asked to serve it to the most important guest at the wedding. Surely they must have wondered, this was not the solution to the wine shortage. Yet despite their confusion and potential skepticism, they obeyed. One of the servants carefully drew a sample from one of the jars, the liquid shimmering in the light as it was poured into a vessel. He then cautiously approached the master of the banquet, ready to present him with what appeared to be nothing more than ordinary water. This act of faith, of trusting in Jesus' command even when it defied logic, is a testament to the power of belief and the willingness to follow divine guidance, even when the path ahead is unclear. The master of the banquet, unaware of the extraordinary events that had just transpired, received the sample and cautiously tasted it. As the liquid touched his tongue, his eyes widened in astonishment, his face registering a mixture of surprise and disbelief. It was not just wine. It was not merely a substitute for what had been lost. It was the best wine he had tasted all evening, perhaps the best he had ever tasted in his life. The flavor was exquisite, the aroma intoxicating, and the quality far surpassed anything he had expected. He was utterly bewildered, unable to comprehend how such a transformation could have occurred. This moment of revelation, of experiencing the unexpected and the miraculous, is a powerful reminder that God's power transcends human understanding and that He is capable of transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. The disciples, who had been observing the entire sequence of events with rapt attention, witnessed far more than just a clever party trick or a simple solution to a social problem. They recognized this as something truly extraordinary, a manifestation of divine power that defied all natural laws. This was the first of His signs, a glimpse into the glory and majesty of Jesus, a revelation of His true identity as the Son of God. Through this miraculous transformation of water into wine, Jesus revealed His power over creation and His ability to bring joy and abundance into the lives of those who believe in Him. And as they witnessed this incredible event, their faith in Him deepened, their understanding of His mission expanded, and their commitment to following Him grew stronger. This miracle at Cana was not just a demonstration of power, it was a catalyst for faith, a turning point in the lives of the disciples, and a foreshadowing of the many more miracles to come. Imagine a vast crowd, a sea of faces stretching as far as the eye can see, gathered on a grassy hillside. The sun beats down, yet they remain, their attention fixed on a single figure. Thousands of people, drawn from every corner of the land, have followed Jesus to this remote and desolate place. They have come seeking healing, seeking hope, seeking a connection to something greater than themselves. They have left behind their homes, their families, their daily routines, all for the chance to hear his words, to witness his miracles, to be in his presence. The air is thick with anticipation. A palpable sense of expectation hangs heavy in the atmosphere. These are ordinary people, farmers, fishermen, merchants, mothers, fathers, children, all united by a common yearning, a shared desire for something more. They have heard whispers of his power, tales of his compassion, stories of his ability to heal the sick and comfort the afflicted. And so they have come, their hearts filled with hope, their minds open to the possibility of a new reality. They have walked for days, some even weeks, enduring hardship and discomfort, driven by an unwavering belief that they will find what they are looking for in this unlikely place. They are a testament to the power of faith, a living embodiment of the human spirit's capacity for hope. As evening approaches, the golden light of the setting sun casting long shadows across the hillside, the disciples begin to grow concerned. A sense of unease settles among them as they realize the enormity of the situation. This huge crowd, numbering in the thousands, is hungry, their stomachs rumbling after a long day of listening and learning. And they are far from any town or market, miles away from the nearest source of food. The disciples huddle together, their faces etched with worry, discussing the seemingly impossible task before them. How can they possibly feed so many people in this desolate place? Where will they find enough food to satisfy their hunger? They look at each other, their eyes filled with doubt and uncertainty. They are practical men, accustomed to dealing with the realities of everyday life, and the prospect of feeding such a vast crowd seems utterly beyond their capabilities. They consider the logistics, the sheer scale of the challenge, and their hearts sink with despair. They have witnessed Jesus perform miracles before, but this seems different, this seems impossible. They voice their concerns, their doubts, their fears, each one adding to the growing sense of anxiety. The weight of responsibility presses down on them, the burden of caring for this multitude of people. They are caught between their faith in Jesus and their own limited resources, struggling to reconcile the seemingly irreconcilable. In the midst of their deliberations, one of the disciples, perhaps driven by desperation or perhaps by a flicker of hope, finds a young boy who is willing to share his meager lunch. He is a small child, barely old enough to understand the magnitude of the situation, yet his heart is filled with compassion and generosity. He approaches the disciples, his eyes wide with innocence, and offers them his humble meal. It is a meager offering, a small token of kindness in the face of overwhelming need. 5 small barley loaves, coarse and simple, and 2 small fish, barely enough to feed a single person. It seems insignificant, almost laughable in the context of the thousands who are hungry. But in the eyes of the boy, it is everything he has to offer, a symbol of his willingness to help, a testament to his faith in the possibility of a miracle. He holds out his lunch, his small hands trembling slightly, his face radiating a quiet sense of hope. He does not know how it will be enough. He does not know how it will feed so many, but he offers it nonetheless, trusting that somehow, in some way, it will make a difference. His simple act of generosity, his selfless willingness to share, stands in stark contrast to the disciples' doubts and fears, a beacon of light in the gathering darkness. Then Jesus, seeing the boy's offering, takes the 5 loaves and 2 fish into his hands. He holds them up, presenting them to the heavens, his eyes filled with gratitude and reverence. He looks up to heaven, acknowledging the source of all blessings, and gives thanks. He speaks words of blessing, invoking the power of the divine, sanctifying the humble meal. He expresses his gratitude for the boy's generosity, for the disciples' willingness to serve, and for the faith of the crowd. He recognizes the significance of this moment, the potential for a miracle, and he prepares to unleash the power of God. He breaks the loaves, dividing them into smaller pieces, his hands moving with purpose and grace. He does not hesitate. He does not doubt. He simply acts, trusting in the power that flows through him. He breaks the fish as well, preparing them to be distributed among the hungry multitude. His actions are deliberate, each movement imbued with meaning, each gesture a symbol of his love and compassion. He is the shepherd, caring for his flock, providing for their needs, nourishing their bodies and their souls. He is the embodiment of faith, the source of hope, the promise of a better future. He gave the pieces to his disciples, entrusting them with the task of distributing the food to the crowd. The disciples, initially hesitant and doubtful, now move with a newfound sense of purpose and determination. They organize the crowd into smaller groups, ensuring that everyone has access to the food. They pass among the people, their baskets overflowing with bread and fish, their faces radiating joy and amazement. As the disciples pass the baskets, a miracle unfolds before their very eyes. The food did not run out, it multiplied in their hands, seemingly without end. The loaves and fish expanded, filling the baskets to overflowing, providing more than enough for everyone to eat. The disciples are astonished, their doubts and fears replaced by wonder and awe. They witness the power of God in action, the manifestation of divine grace, the fulfillment of a promise. They are humbled by the experience, their faith strengthened, their understanding deepened. They realize that with God, all things are possible, that even the most impossible tasks can be accomplished through faith and obedience. They continue to distribute the food, their hearts filled with gratitude and joy, their hands working tirelessly to ensure that everyone is fed. Everyone ate. The hungry crowd, their faces etched with weariness and anticipation, eagerly received the food. Not just a small bite, a mere taste to appease their hunger, but as much as they wanted. They ate their fill, savoring each morsel, their bodies nourished, their spirits lifted. They were all satisfied, their hunger pangs silenced, their energy restored. A sense of contentment settled over the crowd, a palpable feeling of peace and well-being. They looked at each other, their eyes filled with gratitude and amazement, marveling at the abundance that had been provided. They had come seeking healing, seeking hope, seeking a connection to something greater than themselves, and they had found it in this unexpected place, in this miraculous meal. They had witnessed the power of God in action, the manifestation of divine love, the fulfillment of a promise. They were transformed by the experience, their faith strengthened, their understanding deepened. They knew that they had been touched by something extraordinary, something that would stay with them forever. They would never forget this day, this moment of grace, this demonstration of God's boundless love. As night falls, casting a dark shroud over the Sea of Galilee, a violent storm descends upon the lake. The wind howls, the waves crash, and the sky is illuminated by flashes of lightning. The disciples, weary from a long day of ministry, find themselves in a small boat, battling for their lives against the fury of the storm. They are straining at the oars, their muscles aching, their bodies soaked to the bone. The boat is tossed about like a toy, threatened by the towering waves that crash over the bow. They are experienced fishermen, accustomed to the challenges of the sea, but this storm is unlike anything they have ever encountered. The wind and the waves seem determined to overwhelm them, to drag them down into the depths of the lake. Fear grips their hearts, their faces etched with terror. They are far from shore, alone in the darkness, at the mercy of the elements. They cry out for help, their voices lost in the roar of the storm. They feel helpless, hopeless, on the verge of despair. They are facing their mortality, confronted with the fragility of human existence in the face of nature's power. In the darkest hour of the night, when all hope seems lost, when the disciples are on the verge of giving up, they see something that terrifies them even more than the storm. A figure is walking on the churning water, approaching their boat with an unnatural calm. The disciples are paralyzed with fear, their minds struggling to comprehend what they are seeing. They believe it is a ghost, a phantom conjured by the storm, a harbinger of their impending doom. They cry out in terror, their voices filled with anguish and despair. They are convinced that their end is near, that they are about to be swallowed by the sea. The figure continues to approach, its form becoming clearer in the flashes of lightning. It is a human figure, but it defies the laws of nature, defying gravity, defying the power of the storm. The disciples are caught between fear and disbelief, their minds reeling, their senses overwhelmed. They are witnessing something extraordinary, something that challenges their understanding of reality. Then, a voice, calm and reassuring, cuts through the roar of the wind and the crashing of the waves. "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." It is Jesus walking on the water, defying the storm, bringing peace to the chaos. His words are like a balm to their souls, soothing their fears, calming their anxieties. He identifies himself, assuring them that it is not a ghost, not a phantom, but their Lord and Savior. He commands them to take courage, to be brave, to trust in him. He reminds them that he is with them, even in the midst of the storm, that he will never abandon them. His voice is filled with love and compassion, radiating a sense of peace and security. The disciples are filled with relief and amazement, their fear replaced by hope and gratitude. They recognize his voice, his presence, his power. They know that they are safe in his hands, that he will protect them from the storm. The storm may rage around them, but they are no longer afraid, for they know that Jesus is with them, walking on the water, bringing peace to their troubled hearts. Nestled on the eastern slope of the Mount of Olives, just a short distance from Jerusalem, lay the tranquil village of Bethany. In this unassuming place, amidst the rolling hills and sun-drenched landscapes, lived Lazarus and his two devoted sisters, Mary and Martha. Their home was a haven of warmth and hospitality, a place where genuine friendship flourished, and where the bonds of family were deeply cherished. But more than that, their home was often graced by the presence of Jesus. He found solace and rest within their walls, drawn to their unwavering faith and the genuine love that permeated their lives. They in turn revered him, recognizing the divine spark that shone brightly within him. Their connection was profound, a tapestry woven with threads of mutual respect, affection, and spiritual kinship. It was a relationship that transcended the ordinary, a testament to the power of love and faith. One day, a shadow fell upon their peaceful existence. Lazarus, the beloved brother, was struck by a grave illness. His condition rapidly deteriorated, casting a pall of fear and uncertainty over the household. Mary and Martha, their hearts heavy with worry, watched helplessly as their brother's life ebbed away. Desperate for a miracle, they knew there was only one person who could possibly offer them hope: Jesus. They immediately sent word to him, their message laden with urgency and a plea for his divine intervention. They knew of his power to heal, his compassion for the suffering, and his unwavering love for those in need. But as the hours turned into days, and Lazarus's condition worsened, a chilling realization began to dawn upon them. By the time Jesus finally arrived in their village of Bethany, a profound sense of grief had already settled over the household. Lazarus had succumbed to his illness and had already been in the tomb for 4 long, agonizing days. The finality of death hung heavy in the air, a suffocating blanket of despair that seemed to extinguish all hope. From a human perspective, all hope was lost. The stone had been rolled in front of the tomb, sealing his fate. The news of Jesus' arrival spread quickly through the grieving village, bringing a flicker of anticipation amidst the overwhelming sorrow. Martha, upon hearing that Jesus was approaching, bravely stepped out to meet him, her heart a complex mix of faith and disappointment. When Jesus arrived, he was met by a grieving Martha, her eyes red with tears, her voice trembling with emotion. She approached him with a mixture of reverence and anguish, her words a poignant expression of her unwavering belief in his power, yet tinged with the bitter sting of loss. Her words are full of faith mixed with disappointment. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." It was a statement that echoed the sentiments of everyone who loved Lazarus, a lament for what could have been, a yearning for a different outcome. Jesus listened to Martha's heartfelt plea with unwavering compassion, his eyes filled with understanding and empathy. He recognized the depth of her grief, the weight of her sorrow, and the flicker of hope that still burned within her heart. In response to her lament, Jesus offers her one of the most powerful and profound promises in all of Scripture, a declaration that transcends the boundaries of life and death, a testament to his divine authority and eternal power. "I am the resurrection and the life." These words were not merely a comforting platitude, but a bold assertion of his true identity, a revelation of his ability to conquer death itself. He was not just a healer, not just a teacher, but the very embodiment of life, the source of all creation, the ultimate victor over mortality. He continued, assuring her that whoever believes in him, even though they die, yet shall they live. And everyone who lives and believes in him shall never die. This was a promise of eternal life, a hope that extended beyond the grave, a reassurance that death was not the end, but merely a transition to a new and glorious existence. As Jesus made his way to the tomb, he was met by Mary and a crowd of mourners, their faces etched with sorrow, their hearts heavy with grief. The air was thick with the sounds of weeping and lamentation, a symphony of despair that echoed through the village. When he sees Mary and the others weeping, their pain palpable, their sorrow overwhelming, the Bible gives us a remarkable insight into his heart, a glimpse into the depths of his compassion. Jesus wept. This simple yet profound statement reveals the humanity of Jesus, his ability to feel the pain of others, his willingness to share in their suffering. He was not detached or indifferent to their grief, but deeply moved by their loss. His tears were not a sign of weakness but a testament to his love, his empathy, and his profound connection to the human experience. He understood the pain of separation, the sting of death, and the longing for reunion. After composing himself, Jesus approached the tomb, a cave sealed with a large stone. The crowd stood in stunned silence, their eyes fixed on him, their hearts filled with a mixture of anticipation and disbelief. He then commands the people to do something shocking, something that seemed utterly absurd in the face of death. Take away the stone. The command hung in the air, a challenge to their understanding of reality, a test of their faith in his power. Martha, still grappling with the finality of her brother's death, protested, reminding Jesus that Lazarus had been dead for 4 days, and that his body would surely be decaying. But Jesus, with unwavering resolve, reiterated his command, urging them to trust in his divine purpose. With hesitant steps and trembling hands, the people obeyed, their muscles straining as they pushed against the massive stone. The stone was rolled away, revealing the dark and silent entrance to the tomb. With the tomb now open, a hush fell over the crowd. All eyes were fixed on Jesus, their hearts pounding with anticipation. He raised his eyes to heaven, his face radiant with divine light, and began to pray aloud, his voice resonating with power and authority. Jesus prayed aloud, thanking the Father for hearing him, acknowledging the divine connection that bound them together. He made it clear that he was not acting on his own authority, but as a messenger of the Father's will. He prayed so that the people watching would believe, so that they would witness the glory of God and recognize his divine power. His prayer was a testament to his unwavering faith, his complete reliance on the Father, and his desire to reveal the truth to those who were lost in darkness. With his prayer complete, Jesus turned towards the dark opening of the tomb, his eyes blazing with divine power. He then shouted with a voice of command that pierced the veil of death itself, a voice that echoed through the ages, a voice that resonated with the authority of the Creator. Lazarus, come out! It was a command that defied the natural order, a challenge to the very essence of death, a declaration of his ultimate victory over the grave. The words hung in the air, charged with divine energy, waiting to be fulfilled. A moment of stunned silence followed as the crowd held its breath, their eyes wide with disbelief. Then, a stirring within the tomb, a rustling of linen, a faint sound of movement. And the man who had been dead for 4 days, his body wrapped in the linen cloths of burial, his face covered with a burial cloth, came walking out of the tomb. He emerged from the darkness into the light, a living testament to the power of Jesus, a walking miracle that defied all human understanding. The crowd erupted in gasps of amazement, their sorrow turning to joy, their disbelief turning to faith. The resurrection of Lazarus was not just a personal miracle, but a sign of the coming resurrection of all who believe in Jesus, a promise of eternal life for those who place their trust in him. It was a moment that changed everything, a moment that revealed the true power and glory of God.